Hey y'all, hey, it's Troyia Monay back to y'all with another video. Today's video is super exciting as always. In today's video, we are going to be doing a little chit chat. Get ready with me. I have a long day of filming ahead of me, you guys. Today is Monday. Yesterday was 4th of July, so happy 4th to all of you guys out there. So yeah, I have a long day of filming ahead of me. I have like 3 or 4 videos to film today. So I said, you know, why not sit here, do my makeup chit chat with y'all for a little bit about a couple different things. So today's topic, we are going to be discussing my experience, pros and cons, tips and tricks of visiting the LA Fashion District. As you guys know, I went to the LA Fashion District about 3 weeks ago, I said, and I had a blast. I learned a lot of information that I wanted to come here and to share with you guys today. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump right on in. I'm gonna be doing a really natural beat today. Y'all see I already got my eyebrows done. So yeah, we're just gonna be doing a nice little natural beat to get us through filming today and a couple errands that I have to run later as well, you guys. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump right on in, and I'll see you guys in the video. All right. So we are gonna go ahead and hop right on in. Just a little bit of background before we kind of get started. So I went to LA originally from June 12th through June 16th. So about 3 weeks ago, I say. And like I said earlier in the intro, literally had a blast and learned so much. Got to talk with so many different vendors, different things like that as well. But I am actually on my way to LA again. So I am headed back to LA Tuesday. So tomorrow I'll be in LA from Tuesday to Friday. And originally, my original trip, like I said, when I went 3 weeks ago, it was really just for me to kind of go through and just get the experience. I just wanted to go there, see how the LA Fashion District was. Granted, that was my first time ever going. So I really just wanted to go and just like get the experience, kind of see what it was all about. And then I also went with the purpose to film content for you guys. So if you guys have not seen my original vlog, my first LA Fashion District vlog, I'll have that up there on the screen. And then I also went to create content, and I partnered and collaborated with No Vacancy, which is a vendor in the LA Fashion District as well. So I kind of just went with the intent to just kind of not necessarily use it as a vacation, but just use it as a way to like create content, kind of get out the house for a little bit, just something to do. And when I did go, I didn't really purchase too much inventory. Like I purchased a couple different pieces, but they were all for pre-order. So when I got back home, I was like, okay, so now that you've seen what the Fashion District is about, now that you know your boutique is about to relaunch, all that good stuff, why not just go through and to make sure that the style of clothing that you have selected is this type of aesthetic that you want to go for. So after I kind of made those decisions, I later realized, okay, that's not the aesthetic that I want my business to go in. So I actually just went through and just canceled like a lot of those like pre-orders and different things like that as well. So yeah, I am going back to the LA Fashion District again. I have a really good strategy that I put together that'll be really helpful. So I'm going to try it out when I go. And then, of course, I'll come back and tell you guys if that strategy works or if it doesn't work, or if I have any additional tips and tricks or anything like that that I recommend as well, you guys. So we are going to dive right on into the pros and cons. Y'all know I got my computer right here with all of my notes. So the first pro definitely that I have, of course, this is like the reason why we go to the LA Fashion District, is so that way we can see our inventory pieces in person. That is definitely like my #1 pro, is being able to see the inventory that you want in person. That's the reason why you go, right? However, that same pro in a way is still a con in my opinion. So of course it's a pro because you get to, you know, physically see the color, you can see the stretch, you can see things in person. However, in my opinion, like I said, can definitely be a con. And the reason why it is a con is because the way that you see things on a rack is completely different than the way you're going to see things on like a physical model's body. So that's why it has its pros and its cons of shopping on sites like Fashion Go and shopping online, is because you get to see, you know, what the different pieces and styles of clothing look like on a physical model, rather than just seeing it on a hanger. And you guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you, when I was there, I got overwhelmed because the amount of inventory that they have in a lot of these stores is like super overwhelming. It's almost as if like you're shopping in like a thrift store or something like that. There's only one style per piece on the floor per size, only one on the floor. So you have to literally go through everything in order to find something good. Just like when you're shopping at like a thrift store, you have to look through everything because you literally could miss something. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you are literally going through the racks. You're not seeing things on a physical model. So the way that something looks on a hanger is going to be completely different than it's going to look on a physical model's body. So that's why I said it has its pros and its cons of shopping online, because when you're seeing things on model, you can see the way that it fits, the way that it hugs her body, different things like that. Whereas when you're looking at something on a rack, you're really just looking at the clothing piece itself, not really just seeing, you know, how things look as well. So my biggest piece of advice when it comes to that is you have to give yourself enough time in the LA fashion district in order to like see everything, in order to make sure that you're making the right decision. So I recommend going for 3 days. Some people say, you know, maybe 1 or 2 days is enough. I say 3 days, especially if it's your first time going, because you need to have time in order to see a lot of the different pieces that they have. So the first day is the day that I would use to walk around, to grow familiar with the area, to, you know, walk into the different stores, introduce yourself, get business cards. So I literally have a huge stack of business cards that I got the first time that I went that I'm going to take back with me. And the reason why I got all of those business cards is because a lot of the different vendors that are in the fashion district, they have no online presence, which means they don't have their own website. They aren't on Fashion Go or anything like that either. So you want to make sure that you remember who those vendors are. Of course, you can take a picture of like the storefront or anything like that, but I just thought it'd be easier to just get a business card. So that's what I did. So now I have like a whole entire hit list right here of all the different vendors that I'm going to visit tomorrow when I go back to the fashion district again. So this is like a hit list of 2 pages full of all the vendors' names that I want to visit the second time. And I recommend you guys to do that as well. My next biggest piece of advice is the strategy that I'm using this go around is I went on Fashion Go, added all the items to my cart that I liked, or adding to my favorites that I liked. And when I go to LA and I'm in the fashion district, I'm just going to go down my cart or in my favorites list on Fashion Go one by one and just make sure I hit every single store. And all the products that I have in my favorites list, I'm going to make sure that I see those products in person. So that way it kind of gives me like a process of elimination to see whether or not I want to actually purchase those products or not, given granted me seeing them in person. So I know earlier I was talking about, you know, not being able to see clothing options in person definitely is like a huge con. Or not being able to see it on a physical model's body is a huge con. So when you're seeing it on Fashion Go and then you're seeing it in person, you can kind of, you know, think about it a little harder whether or not you want to actually go through and like purchase that piece of product or anything like that as well. So I would use that first day to scope out the scene, get business cards, introduce myself to like my vendors or anything like that. The second day is the day where I would actually like go into the stores, look around, take pictures of different pieces of inventory. A lot of vendors won't allow you to take any pictures at all, but they will at least allow you to take a picture of like the tag or the SKU number, so that way you can find it on their site or anything like that as well. So I did that with a lot of vendors as well, which was just like take pictures of like their SKU number, so that way I was able to find it. And then that second day as well, I would just really kind of just look around, you know, see what's out there, see what type of style of clothing options that I want to have. And then I would go back to my hotel room later on that night and then do like a process of elimination. Put all of your different items, create like a one sheet for your business in a sense. Create a one sheet, create a spreadsheet of all the different items that you've seen. And if you're building a collection, this is essential for you to do anyway, because you want to make sure that a lot of the pieces that you're building a collection with kind of coincide and that they kind of look good together. So that's what I would really recommend as well, to kind of just go through and to do like a process of elimination. And then that last day is the day that I would go and buy all of the different pieces after I've made my final decisions. Just because when you are in the fashion district, you guys, it is extremely overwhelming. So that's why I recommend, like, you have to go in there with like some type of plan. It's almost as if like you're grocery shopping, right? If you go to the grocery store without a grocery list, you're gonna come out with a whole bunch of stuff in your cart that you had no intentions of even purchasing. So you want to make sure that all the items that you do purchase are items that you want, items that you need within your boutique, items that, you know, you're picking strategically and all that good stuff as well. The next pro that I would say is the fact that you are able to negotiate. I'm not going to say you're able to negotiate, but I'm going to say that you have the ability to negotiate is what I really want to say. So literally everything in life, you guys, is negotiable, right? Everything in life is negotiable. Some vendors may allow you to negotiate, some vendors may not, but it is definitely something that you can definitely go through and try. Like I said earlier, a lot of the vendors have no online presence, which means that they don't have to pay crazy hefty fees to like a website provider or crazy hefty fees to like Fashion Go or any of the wholesale marketplaces or anything like that. So they might be a little bit willing to negotiate with you. Whereas if it is a vendor who is located in the fashion district, they may not be willing to negotiate with you. It really just depends. So that's why I said you have the ability to, but that's just something that you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. If you're purchasing a lot of packs from a vendor and a lot of different styles from a vendor, different things like that, I see no problem with negotiating just because I'm already giving you a lot of my money. Why shouldn't I, you know, go through and try to, you know, talk you down a little bit on your prices? But at the end of the day, you guys have to realize that they are a business. That's just like one of our customers coming to us trying to negotiate. So you can just take it with a grain of salt to see if that's something that you can do. But everything in life is negotiable. So I definitely see no fault in negotiating the prices if it is like the right moment, you know, and it kind of makes sense with what you're purchasing and all that good stuff as well. The next pro is you're able to communicate with a lot of these vendors. I built so many great relationships during my first trip. You guys know that I got the opportunity to interview and do a store tour of one of the vendors there, and definitely like a forever, like almost like a forever friend in a sense, where I'm able to like go to her store. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go to her store when I go back tomorrow. And just like, you know, having that relationship with your vendors is extremely important. Talking with them, that is how you're able to get a lot of the different styles before styles are even added to Fashion Go, styles are even added to their websites or anything like that. You're able to see that because you built those relationships with your vendors as well. And that goes back for me to say as well, make sure when you are visiting their the stores and you are getting their business cards, ask them, do they have WhatsApp and do they share their catalogs on WhatsApp? And you want to make sure you get on their WhatsApp list so that way you can see all of the new arrivals that are added before anyone else does as well. That's another way that you can see like their one sheets and catalogs and different things like that too. So build those relationships. At the end of the day, our customer or our vendors are our, how can I go through and put this? Vendors, basically we are our vendors' customer. Just like we have customers as boutique owners and retailers and different things like that, we are their customers. So they're providing us with a service. They are providing us with customer service and different things like that as well. So they want to make that sale, you guys. So you have to realize that, you know, how can I put this? You don't want to just go in there and get persuaded. A lot of these vendors will try to persuade you into, you know, purchasing things. That's why I said those 3 days are extremely important for you to go home or go to your hotel or whatever, and for you to make that final decision of whether or not you should actually go through and complete that purchase. That's why I don't really recommend like going in there, talking to them, and then purchasing same day. I mean, you can if it is something that you really want, but I recommend thinking about it, especially if it is your first time, because they will go through and try to persuade you into purchasing a lot of the different things, and it may not be things that you want as well. Another pro would be to make sure you go in there with a plan. Like I said earlier, it's just like, you know, going to the grocery store and you're shopping for groceries and you have no grocery list. You're going to come out with a whole cart full of stuff and food that you have no intention of going and getting. That's just like going to the grocery store and, you know, putting a bunch of stuff on the cart and you're hungry. You don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry either. So make sure you go in there with some type of plan, because if you don't, you're going to see a bunch of things that catch your eye, but not necessarily something that might be strategic for your business. It may not fit your business aesthetic or may not fit your brand or anything like that. So what I'm doing this time around is I have completely created like a brand new branding board for my business. I recommend every business to have a branding board. So that way you're keeping like your business aesthetics together. You're making sure that everything kind of flows, and it's kind of keeping you on track. You have a mood board, an inspiration board, anything like that, to make sure that your business is kind of afloat as well. So that would be my last little pro. A couple cons that I have for sure are some vendors do not display prices at all. So you're literally going in there and you can't see the price. I'm dropping stuff, y'all. You can't see the price of a lot of the different things that you are looking at, which means that when you are going in there, you're looking at the different items and things like that, but you have to wait, you know, until a worker is free to get the price or anything like that. And I just thought that that was like a huge inconvenience, and it was wasting a lot of my time, was the fact that I did see so many different pieces that I like. But for me to, like, you know, figure out, remember the pieces I like, then go back to the counter, ask you, hey, can I get someone to help me figure out the prices? Like, it was just a lot of back and forth. That's like another con, is you can't see the prices at a lot of vendors. Some vendors do display prices, but a lot of them don't, where you do have to, like, get someone, a worker, to, you know, get the price or anything like that. And I just thought that that was like a huge inconvenience. So definitely realized that. And then, like, another smaller con that I had as well is the cost of travel. It's a small con, but you know, we all know that the cost of traveling to LA can be expensive, and LA and in general is expensive. But you know, flights, hotels, accommodations, food, transportation while you're there can definitely get really, really pricey as well. So those are a couple of the different pros, cons, my experience with going. So I'm going to take all of my advice that I'm giving you guys today, and I'm going to put it to the test when I go back. And we're going to see, you know, whether or not it is like some good pieces of advice or not. But I'm pretty sure it is. It's just, you know, when you are there, you just really have to go in with a plan. Like, that's just like, that's my biggest piece of advice, is to just go in there with some type of plan, because if you don't, you're gonna be just wasting a whole lot of time. And I could see it when I was there, because I was like, ooh, I can't even imagine if I came here with the intent to purchase inventory. I just came with the intent to get content for y'all, not to actually purchase inventory or anything like that. All right, you guys, so hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Just a little couple tips and tricks and things that I recommend if you are visiting the LA Fashion District. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If it was, give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.